Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Good morning. This is Racing Across America, and on a morning like this, racing across the globe, Dubai World Cup. Next race about 7 minutes away, so I'm going to jump right in. We have an interview coming up. Jenny Reese for the Kentucky HBPA was down at the fairgrounds, and yesterday caught up with Steve Asmussen, talked a little bit about Epicenter in the Louisiana Derby, Echo Zulu in the Fairground Oaks, and Midnight Bourbon in the Dubai World Cup. So we'll hit on that. We'll watch the race from Dubai, and then we'll have Joe Kristufek from the fairgrounds talking a little stakes action down at the fairgrounds this afternoon. So up next, yesterday, backstretch at fairgrounds, it's Jenny Reese interviewing Steve Asmussen.
Looked better as the races have gotten along. A little bit of a disappointing first run opening the week at Churchill, but circumstances weren't ideal for him. Came back and had success over a mile in a distance he's far more suited for. And then a very fun win in Gun Runner, in the inaugural running of the Gun Runner with him. Obviously second by a head in the LeCompte, and then a very emphatic victory in the Risen Star.
How cool is it to be in these races that are named after horses that you trained, Hall of Fame horses, Gun Runner, the Rachel Alexandra?
Proven a little age on us, but obviously we've been extremely blessed with some great race horses, with having the chances that we do this weekend with the 2-year-old champion Echo Zulu as well as Epicenter. Hopefully that trend will continue.
Epicenter, just comment on his races down here. He just nearly gets beat in the LeCompte, comes back and looks very good in the Risen Star.
He did. Obviously disappointed that he got beat in the LeCompte, but he ran solid, but he took that lesson well and seemed to move forward physically. He's continued to train very impressively. He's a very good doing horse, travels well, and works impressively. We love our chances with him in the Louisiana Derby. I think I'm very appreciative of the format for the Louisiana Derby 3-year-old series changing, spreading it out, moving it later, but with the distances increasing. I think it gives us a very good opportunity to prepare them for their ultimate goal, which is the Kentucky Derby.
And since he is co-owned by the same person that co-owned Gun Runner in Ron Winchell, could you sort of talk about the two of them? I mean, the development. Obviously, we know what Gun Runner went on to do.
Right.
But at this same stage.
Absolutely. It is Gun Runner came to Fairgrounds 2 victories, and obviously ran really well through the 3-year-old series and ended up 3rd in that year's Kentucky Derby. If anything, Epicenter is ahead of him from a maturity schedule, but hoping that Epicenter ends up being as dominant as Gun Runner proved to be. We're still dreaming a little bit there.
Well, speaking of Gun Runner, that's a segue into Echo Zulu. She's from his first crop and is an unbeaten Breeders' Cup Eclipse champion. You literally can't do any better than that for a start.
Well, yeah, I guess if she'd been 4 starts and 4 Grade 1 wins would have been the only thing that would have been more impressive than the fact that she has 4 runs and 3 Grade 1 wins. Beautiful victory in the Breeders' Cup. She is a filly that Ron owns in partnership with Levinson's Nelson and LNN, and what a blessing she's been to have and to be around.
And first start of the year?
It's different, in the fact that fall 2-year-olds, spring 3-year-olds are a whole different level of competition, a whole different group of competition. I think that the 2-year-olds obviously had success at shorter distances. That's kind of earned them the right towards the fall, whereas when you come back in the spring, it's horses that have had success in 2-turn races.
And was the thinking of the timing just, you gave her whatever
I give her
timing?
the respect that those races required. She pretty much an unprecedented 2-year-old season with 3 Grade 1s from 4 races, and wanted to give her due time to physically develop after a strenuous 2-year-old campaign. filly is stronger. She's still a speedy-looking type. She's broader than she is tall, but she goes over the ground beautifully, and very anxious for her first run of the year in the Fairgrounds Oaks.
What will you be looking for, given it is her first race off of?
Everything. You'll be looking for everything. She's a strong filly mentally. She's generally on her toes. I wouldn't expect that to be any different with her pre-race. Hopefully she's away from there cleanly and simply looks faster than they are.
Mentioning Ron Winchell, there's another big race. You could have a huge day tomorrow, starting early in the morning with Midnight Bourbon in the Dubai World Cup. So talk about how he's doing and going the mile and a quarter in that race.
Yeah, Midnight Bourbon is unbelievable durable horse that came through the 3-year-old series here last year with the Lecomte, the Risen Star in the Louisiana Derby, winning the Lecomte, placing in the Risen Star in the Louisiana Derby, and had a very productive 3-year-old year without winning. I believe he's got 4 Grade 1 placings, but no wins. And he had a solid run in the Saudi Cup, and he's trained really well for the Dubai World Cup. And it's quite obvious, from the race drawn, like where we drew, unbelievably competitive race, very fast race. But what hasn't he seen at this stage? He sure hasn't batted an eye at it.
But it is Ron Winchell's 50th birthday tomorrow, and he's in Dubai because he didn't know he was going to have the 2 favorites in these other races, I guess. But just sort of talk about how big a birthday it could be.
I think all of Ron's birthdays have been pretty good. He just has put together a highly effective system that is working extremely well.
Alistair and I are due a winner.
Thanks, Tom. We are indeed. The wheel turns. It's a big wheel. Island Falcon, Withering come up to join Crown Pride, Gilded Age, Quality Boon, and Rewa Home. Next one will be Get Back Goldie. Azure Coast has now been led forward. Ben Doog is near the stalls, but we'll have another lap as Irwin now moves into line. Now Ben Doog. Pinehurst. Summer is tomorrow. 6 runners to load. Pinehurst loads up. Summer is tomorrow. Kiefer, Combustion, Sekifu, and Arabian Gazelles. Sekifu moving into line. Arabian Gazelles will be the last one for the 2022 UAE Derby, sponsored by Mubadala. Just about ready. And away they go. And Rewa Home out of stallgate number 1 blew the start, gave away a couple of lengths. Pinehurst ridden early to get up handy. Summer is tomorrow, has natural gate speed and is right there. Combustion, the blue colours, is third. Now fourth is Sekifu, commits to a prominent place. Crown Pride, Get Back Goldie, Irwin's very deep. Ben Dukes against the inside rail and only racing about 4 to 5 lengths off the leader. They're going a good pace. Island Falcon, the all blue colours, hugs the rail a couple of lengths away to Arabian Gazelles. Azure Coast is not in a hopeless position at the moment. One off the rail, the white cap at the outside of Quality Boon. Withering it there outside, Rewa Homer. They followed by Gilded Age in the orange colours towards the end of the field, and Kiefer from a bad draw took his medicine, races at the end of the field, and there's got to be about 14 lengths in it, and they're going a cracking pace. Summer is tomorrow, 1 length in front. It'll be headlines if he can sustain this. Pinehurst though on his back is second. Then comes Sekifu, races in third, the white sleeves and the white cap. Then comes Combustion, who just tracks the leaders. Ben Doog against the inside. Combustion being nursed back onto the bit. Crown Pride is in the red sleeves He's in the red cap. Island Falcon comes down the side of the course, racing about 6 lengths off the leader. Then 2 back to Irwin. Withering, Rainer Homer's next best. Then comes Quality Boon, the orange and blue colours. Azure Coast is in a real spot of bother. Then comes Kifu, tries to gain some ground. Get Back Goldie and Gilded Age look out of it, and they're about to straighten for home. 500 metres left to run. Summerers Tomorrow has led the whole way with Crown Pride right there. Ben Dukes towards the inside. Island Falcon races away in fourth. Sekifu and Combustion, but Summerers Tomorrow is still the leader into the final 250. Summerers Tomorrow by 2. Crown Pride is all out in second. Ben Duke is third. Then comes Island Falcon. Here's Crown Pride getting to grips, getting the better of Summerers Tomorrow, whose runner's race is Japan again. It's Crown Pride in the UAE Derby. The land of the rising sun is having a night to remember. Crown Pride beats Summerers Tomorrow. Island Falcon third, Ben Du, Quality Boon. Rewa Homer was next, then came towards the inside Sekifu. Kifa was next to finish as Azure Coast didn't turn it on. Then came Withering, Combustion, Irwin, Arabian Gazelles. They were ahead of Get Back Goldie, Gilded Age and Pinehurst. Oh, it's Japan again. They are unbelievable. Crown Pride under Damien Lane for Kochi Shintani has won the...
Where's the best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drink specials, and wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 75 flat-screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you, where's the best sports bar in the capital region? Tell them Legends Field Sports Bar, inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Happy to be joined now by our friend Joe Kristufek, the paddock commentator down at the fairgrounds. No better person to connect with on closing weekend and the exclamation point on the season than Joe. Joe, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Seth. How's it going?
Very good. And as I say, happy to have you on board to talk Louisiana Derby, some of the other stakes as well. Let's start out and give people a little update. I just checked on the computer, and it looks like the weather for Saturday looks fabulous.
Yeah, man. Tuesday night, I guess Mother Nature got all of her anger out at once because we were literally 5 miles from a devastating tornado. And again, thoughts and prayers go out to the people that were affected. Just literally down the road from Fairgrounds and literally down the road from where I stay during the winter time. And it's been, I mean, we've been joking about it here ever since. The weather has just been, you know, you think you get a handful of days like this every year, and we've had a bunch of them in a row. So it's going to be absolutely perfect. Rails will be down on the turf course, and they haven't been all the way down in a long time. So expecting speed inside maybe to be favorable, and the main track will be fast. And yeah, we're good to go. I mean, the weather is going to be perfect.
Excellent. And yeah, I'm with you. Our thoughts do go out to everybody that was involved in that, because I was watching the news, I think it was Tuesday night, and they had some video, nighttime video, but you could see the silhouette of the tornado. Oh man, it was really nightmarish. And so again, yeah.
I'll tell you something crazy. Like, I knew that it was windy, I knew that it was raining, I knew we had some bad weather coming in, but I'm watching the Bulls game on the NBA app on Roku, and I'm not getting all the warnings that everybody's getting, you know, on their TV sets. And bam, my phone just started blowing up. Are you okay? Is everything all right there? And then I started paying more attention. I'm like, wow, that was close.
No.
So I was about 90% oblivious to it.
Yeah, like I say, the video was really scary. So, again, thoughts to everybody that was involved there. And, knock wood, the weekend looks really nice down at the fairgrounds. So we put, as I say, the exclamation point on the season. And before we talk specifically about the stakes on Saturday, let's talk about the season. You've been down there, obviously, throughout the season. Give us a little recap. I pulled up the info on the human side from Equibase before we started. On the trainer side, Ron Fichot, the leading trainer, Brad Cox, Tommy Amos, Chris Hartman, Brett Calhoun, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The top 5 on the jockey side, the veteran, James Graham. Kind of fun to see him up there. Colby Hernandez, Mitch Morrell, Brian Hernandez. And upstate New York's own Raylu Gutierrez. It's been fun to watch him over the past, year and a half or so as his career has kind of taken off, and he made a little noise down there at the fairgrounds as well. But give us a little update and a summation of the 2021-2022 fairground season.
Yeah, I mean, on the jockey side, Colby Hernandez held the lead in the jockey standings almost the entire meet up until about the last 3 weeks. James has caught fire. Colby's gone cold. And on the trainer side, I mean, Ron's just got a lot of Louisiana breds. He's got some nice horses. He's got a lot of claiming horses, and he just, is gonna have more volume and have a lot more odds-on type situations with his horses. And happy for Ron. He's always, people always ask, he's a good young trainer. Does he ever have aspirations of, moving on to bigger and better things? And he likes to be the big fish in the little pond, so to speak. So he loves dominating here in Louisiana, and just a good guy, and happy for him to get the second title. But the quality's been great too. Brett Cox, Steve Asmussen. I mean, Steve's run Nashville here. He's run Clairiere here. We saw Proxy come off the bench for Mike Stidham. So in addition to our great stakes program, which continues to get better and better with the 3-year-old series that we have now being 4 races instead of 3, and very progressive in its nature. I just think things as a person can continue to get better here in the next couple of years. I think the quality, day to day is going to be a lot better as well. So lots to look forward to here at Fairgrounds in the years to come.
Yeah, you mentioned Clairiere. Give us a little update on how she looked the other day with the win down there.
Oh, man, she looked awesome. Like, she did everything perfect. Looking at the Apple Blossom next, it was a perfect place to get her started. And, she looked good. Like Steve said, she needs to improve by about a length from last year as an older horse to be, Breeders' Cup Distaff, and perhaps top older female worthy. So we'll see how that all plays out, but certainly a great way to start.
All right, let's jump in and take a look at the Saturday action. There's a nice guarantee on the late pick 5, which is $500,000 on that late pick 5?
Yep, $500,000 guaranteed, and good chance that we're going to blow that out of the water. But there are some potential favorites in the sequence, some places maybe you can take a stand. But if you can beat a couple of those favorites, you'd be in really good shape payoff-wise. So I don't think there's anybody that could say is not vulnerable in one way, shape, or form. It's just a matter of what kind of opinions you come up with.
Well, let's toss out some opinions, and let's start at the highlight, the Louisiana Derby, and work our way back. I pulled up the replay of the Risen Star because obviously Epicenter is going to take a lot of action off of that win in the Risen Star. He'll be the number 5 horse. I like Pioneer of Medina that day. The number 6 horse will run 3rd. I like Pioneer of Medina a little bit again on Saturday. I think Rattle and Roll is really interesting. The Fountain of Youth wasn't much, but the nice workout since, and that Ken McPeak ships over, that one is intriguing to me as well. The Brad Cox Zozos, the 2 horse on Saturday, off the first couple of starts is maybe an up-and-comer, but obviously, as we're seeing with the replay here, Epicenter's the one that's going to attract attention. Your thoughts in the Louisiana Derby?
Yeah, I mean, does that Epicenter have another step forward in him? He's already proven at 9 furlongs, and he was under wraps in the final 16th of a mile. Couldn't have won any easier. The fractions were controlled up front. Don't know what's going to change in this race. If Zozos maybe puts on some pressure, from the rail. Galt's shown a little bit of speed in some of his 2-turn races. Pioneer Medina was in chase mode last time. Mile and 3/16, obviously a stayer's race, but there's no doubt the race goes through Epicenter. I'm interested in the horse that beat him in the Lecomte, Call Me Midnight, who, did have a fast pace to run at that day, but has an amazing turn of foot. Keith DeSormo skipped the Risen Star in favor of the extra time leading into the Louisiana Derby, and the horse has trained great in recent weeks. The question with him with that pedigree, Midnight Luke First Defense, is the mile and 3/16, much different kind of journey than the mile and the 16th with the fast pace to run at. But I think this is a nice horse. I think Keith is really treating him as such, and I think the value will be there for a horse that's already beaten Epicenter.
And you kind of alluded to it, the Louisiana Derby now a mile and 3/16, so that's going to be intriguing as well, giving the horses that come out of this with a good performance maybe a little leg up on the mile and a quarter coming up that first Saturday in May. So again, Louisiana Derby, the highlight of the card, the highlight of the meet, but it's a great card, and one of the additions to that is going to be the Fairground Oaks. Why? It's the return of Echo Zulu. We are going to watch the replay of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly here. She'll be the number 6 horse to complete a 4-for-4 season for Steve Asmussen. We saw her up at Saratoga break the maiden in the debut, follow up with the win in the Spinaway. Then she added the Fressette and this win in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly. Boy, if she comes back ready to roll, and that's the question, obviously, off a layout, but if she comes back, she's going to be tough in here. I thought Hidden Connection was maybe an alternative. Turner Loose and Favor are both a little bit intriguing, perhaps, as well. Turner Loose coming out of the Rachel Alexandra win, 6-1 on the morning line off a nice stakes win down there, but it just shows the power of Echo Zulu. Your thoughts in the Oaks?
Yeah, I'm really conflicted here because if Echo Zulu just runs the way she ran last year, they're not going to touch her, and you would expect some progression from ages 2 to 3, and we didn't think she was going to make the race necessarily because she came here in January, and it was a long time before she actually got on the work tab. And once she got on the work tab, Steve said the weather's been great. We've been able to go 5 furlongs, 4 consecutive works now, and she's ready to run. So we'll see, how ready she is. We'll find out if she's progressed at all from 2 to 3 because she's going to need to. But then you look around the rest of the field and you're like, if not her, then who? Hidden Connection should be better than she was in the Rachel Alexandra. Brett's been a lot happier with her training going into this race. And then Favor for Todd Pletcher. She's never run 2 turns, but she's certainly bred to do it. And those wins at Gulfstream have been visually impressive, and she should get the right trip. So, one of those 3, Berna Breezy's a local horse that's run well. She's a little bit more of an out-the-back closer. And Turner Loose won the Rachel Alexandra, surprising everybody, including her trainer, Brad Cox, at 17-1. He's right back in here with her as well. So, there's a lot of different ways this one can go. If Echo Zulu isn't Echo Zulu from last year, I don't know. If you're playing multi-race wagers, I think you got to do one of 2 things. Take a stand with her or maybe take a stand with somebody else.
Yeah, it's intriguing playing the picks, certainly, because is it a free square, or, as you said earlier, you get past one of these so-called free squares, the ticket balloons up. So you're going to have to make your decision one way or the other and have a little fun with that guaranteed late pick 5, all stakes pick 5 down there. 10th race, the Muñez Memorial. It's on the grass. I pulled up a replay. I went back to Monmouth last summer, the Monmouth Stakes, in fact. It will be number 4, Devamani, getting it done for Chad Brown. Subsequently, that was the last start of last year, and this race we're looking at was in June. Then laid off until February at Tampa. The comeback race was not inspiring, I would say, but it was a comeback off a layoff. It is Chad Brown. I think Devamani is a talented veteran that will improve off of that first start of the year. But Chad also brings Sacred Life in. Santon being lightly raced on the outside for Brendan Walsh, I thought was intriguing. 2 Emmys at a price. I thought that one, the 15-1 morning line, looks really attractive on Santon with the aforementioned James Graham in this saddle. What are your thoughts on Muñez?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, when we first got together to preview these races, the rails are going to be down on the turf. So that always makes me think, especially with it being firm and, no rain for several consecutive days, that there's a really good chance that it's going to be inside and forward. and that's certainly not going to help the cause of Sacred Life or Devamani, who should get first run on Sacred Life. I mean, he's got a little bit better tactical speed, in most of his races. Sacred Life, I think, is the one to beat. He had no pace to run at all in the Pegasus World Cup turf. He was flying late in the race, but just had too much to do that particular day. I think Cavalry Charge can win right back, quite honestly. Won the Fairgrounds Gate to Wire, and this is going to be the third race of his form cycle. And, he got a little bit sick earlier in the meet, and, maybe the lemon was squeezed in that last race in the Fairgrounds. It was a hard race on him. Come back with a couple of half-mile work since for Dallas Stewart. But I just think tactically he's going to make the lead again, and if those inside pats are good and he can slow it down, no respect in the morning line off the victory in the Fairgrounds. He's 10-1, so I'm willing to take a chance that he can do it again.
Yeah, he'll be interesting, certainly, in an interesting race. This one absolutely adds some intrigue to that pick 5 sequence. But another free square, perhaps, in the New Orleans Classic Grade 2 event, $500,000 up for grabs. It is 9 furlongs, and it brings back Olympiad off the really nice win in the Mine Shaft. And we're going to take a look at that. Olympiad is going to be the number 4 horse here. The Bill Mott barn has been on a nice little roll for a month and a half, a couple of months, and longer, but certainly notable with this one and Speaker's Corner and some others. Olympiad looking very good back in the middle of February. Promise Keeper for Todd Pletcher, 4th out of the Razorback most recently, but that was off a long layoff. Wouldn't be surprised to see some improvement there. Happy American if you're looking for an alternative. Superstock, who of course won the Arkansas Derby last year for Steve Asmussen, hasn't quite lived up to that promise since, but is interesting. But what are your thoughts? Do you jump on the free square with Olympiad in the New Orleans?
Yeah, it's so funny going into the Mine Shaft. People are like, I'm not sure that he wants, the mile and a half, the mile and a 16th at Fairgrounds with the long stretch. Speightstown in the pedigree, one over the short stretch, mile and a 16th at Gulfstream in the race prior to that. And, there were some question marks with him going into the Mine Shaft. But talking to Junior Alvarado after the race, it's like, no, man, this horse wants more distance. This horse loves a longer stretch. He's got tactical speed. He's push button, broke the track record here in the Mine Shaft, and just had another gear late over Silver Prospector, who really ran well on the lead that particular day. I mean, he's going to be tough to beat. I think if I was going to try to beat him, it would be with Proxy, who came back off the bench on February 25th and looked really good winning here. It was a fast pace up front, and he took advantage of it. But I think he's a little bit better tactically than he showed that day. It's just kind of the way the race played out. If the pace is slow, that's just going to put him up closer to the early proceedings. And, I think he's got stamina. I think he's going to have a big 4-year-old year. I think he's more into the game, mentally than he was as a 3-year-old. And credit to Mike Stidham for giving him the time he needed to progress from ages 3 to 4. So that's how I would play it. I'd probably play Olympiad singled on one ticket and probably use the 2 of them on a second ticket.
And you mentioned Proxy and Olympiad, both 4-year-olds now, and I mentioned Speaker's Corner. The last year's 3-year-olds, so far of what we've seen, in the first 3 months of the season, first 2+ months of the season, last year's 3-year-olds, as they come back at 4-year-olds, man, we are looking at a very, very exciting handicap division playing out the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's what we want to see, right? And, if some of them are out in Dubai right now participating in the Dubai World Cup, and we'll see how long it takes some of those horses to come back after it. But as you advance into the summer and then later on into the fall, Breeders' Cup at Keeneland this year, which I'm absolutely thrilled about. It's got all the makings. We just have to see how it plays out, month to month.
Let's take a look at the kickoff leg to that all-stakes pick 5, race number 8 on Saturday afternoon, the Benson Memorial, mile and a 16th on the grass. I was kind of master of the obvious here. Hendy Woods looks interesting to me, lively ride. The horse that maybe offers a little bit of value, She Can't Sing, coming out of the win in the Stahl Memorial, is intriguing to me as well. What are your thoughts on the Benson?
Yeah, again, a turf race that doesn't have a lot of speed in it. You mentioned Lovely Ride, who's got some speed from the outside post, changing hands to Robertino Diodoro. She Can't Sing in the stall. I mean, she had been sprinting for so long, and I think it was 19 or 20 races in between her two turn starts, but she won the stall, and she didn't have the cleanest of trips either. She was kind of in a claustrophobic spot. She was steadied. She split horses very gamely late and got the jump on past the plate, who's got a little bit of hang in her game. And I think Jared Loveberry, if he's a little bit aggressive here, he can get a forward spot on the inside, either on the lead with her or sitting the pocket trip, which could be advantageous as well. So I'm leaning towards She Can't Sing. Hendy Wood, you mentioned her. She's probably the class of the field coming off the bench. And, talking to David Carroll, he said she'll improve off of this race, but she's ready to run. And, as the likely favorite in the field, I'm looking for something else. But obviously, if she brings her A game off the bench, she is the one to beat. It's just a question of how low her price is going to go.
All right, that takes us through that all stakes pick 5 on Saturday afternoon. And again, putting kind of an exclamation point on the season. I was talking to you before we went on the air. Just update us what your schedule is, because obviously you're leaving Fairgrounds with the highlight, the big weekend, closing weekend, which winds up with a big card on Sunday as well. But then you're jumping right back in. A few weeks down the road, you'll be up at Churchill.
Yeah, right. I mean, a few days in between to kind of regroup and drive back to Louisville, go to Chicago to see my family for a couple of days, come back and go from one fire into a hotter fire from Louisiana Derby time into the Derby workout shows, Kentucky Derby workout shows, and leading up to opening day. And, I mentioned this to you, Seth, there's nobody that's happier. I don't think that we have a May 7th Kentucky Derby this year, because it kind of sort of gives me an extra week. Last week was May 1st, so the exact opposite this year with May 7th, and, looking very forward to it. I think once again this year, much like last year, the fillies and the boys coming out of New Orleans through the road to the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby are some of the best in the country. Obviously going to be rooting for them moving forward. But it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. And, we got the new turf course at Churchill, and, we're set with the purse levels the way they are to just have a tremendous year from top to bottom. So looking from going to New Orleans to Louisville and, taking on the Derby next.
Yeah, certainly we will check in while you're at Churchill. And, yeah, looking forward to that new turf course and Oaks Derby weekend. The last round, the last few weeks of preps, I think have shown some horses with real potential. And Wayne Lucas with the potential to be a real player on the weekend. It's shaping up to be a fun Oaks Derby weekend. But it's a great Oaks Derby weekend this weekend down in New Orleans. Before we wrap up, I always like to give you a chance to talk a little bit about your racing partnership, because I know some of the brilliant horse racing partners are local, and we always like to root for the local owners. If folks want more information, brillianthorseracing.com. But I pulled up a replay because a couple of weeks ago, the cleverly named Steely Danza got a win for the Brilliant Racing Partnership. Steely Danza is going to be the number 12 horse here. Just talk first a little bit about the cleverly named Steely Danza getting a win, but talk about the partnership in general as well.
Well, one word to describe Steely Danza's win, which is finally. 6 seconds, 4 seconds in a row, beaten as the odds-on favorite. There was always one better than us, but very proud of that horse, man. He deserves that win. And now we can move forward into a non-winners of 2, just keeping things, very realistic with him. Back to Kentucky. We've got Busy Echo back in Kentucky for the Foley. She gave her a little bit of a break. Yes's Ginger was confirmed in full. So, we're going to hopefully bring her back to run a couple times this summer if she's up to it. If not, we'll put her in the November sale and look very forward to her next career, so to speak. And got a couple nice newly turned 2-year-olds that'll be in at Churchill, one by Mastery, one by West Coast, going to Michelle Lovell and Greg Foley, respectively, that'll start really ramping up like right after Derby when they arrive in Kentucky. So lots to look forward to. You just got to hope things go your way. It's a tough game, and, you got to savor the wins, and definitely savor that win by Steely Danza for sure.
Yeah, and again, if folks are thinking, hey, maybe I'd like to get into the game, partnerships are a great way to do it, and brillianthorseracing.com. They can get in touch with you and find out more information. Joe, again, exclamation point on the season this weekend, and you guys have done a great job, including Kevin Kilroy, who is new down there. I sit in here and do the handicapping show 5 days a week, and I'm watching the signals from various tracks. And I've told you before, and I will once again compliment you here on the air, what you guys do with your pregame show, particularly up at Churchill, but part of that is also brought down to Fairgrounds in the winter with a lot of innovations and a lot of great and fun information that you add to the paddock commentary. You guys do a really great job. And as I say, Kevin's been a nice addition down there at the Fairgrounds this winter. So again, Joe, appreciate your visit throughout the season. We'll check in again at Churchill. Have fun this weekend.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think sometimes the industry takes it for granted that, the fan's always going to be there, the horse player's always going to be there. But unless you develop new people to love the game half as much as we do, that's not necessarily the case. It's always been my goal in this game is to try to grow the fan base, and that's not going to waver moving forward, and always appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, you're doing a great job with it. Joe, appreciate it. And as I say, we will talk again when you get back to Kentucky.
All right, you got it. Be well.
Thanks. Joe Kristufek, Fairgrounds, big day on Saturday. I'm Seth Merrow, and as serious horse players, we know that information is critical when placing a bet. With live streaming of more than 30 tracks, race replays, free past performances, and daily picks from professional handicappers, no one gives you more up-to-the-minute information than Capital OTB. Combine that with the best player awards in New York State, and you have everything a serious horse player needs to be successful.
Win more with Capital OTB.
Winning starts here.
The Clubhouse Racebook is the Capital Region's new home for racing and sports. 25,000 square feet of Vegas-style action with live wagering on the best horse racing from around the world. 260 flat-screen televisions and state-of-the-art wagering terminals. So don't miss out. The fun is only minutes away at 711 Central Avenue, Albany, just off exit 5 of I-90. And don't forget, if you can't make it to the Clubhouse, you can always wager online 24/7 at capitalotb.com.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on this Saturday morning. I'm Seth Merrow. Thanks for joining us. We have the next race, the Golden Shaheen, coming up about 5 minutes before we get to that. Thanks again to Joe Kristufek. Talked to him yesterday, so we appreciate his taking the time and wish them a lot of good luck down at the Fairgrounds today. Their closing weekend and a big card today, certainly. Just hitting on some news from the past week. 4 of the top Derby potential runners in Baffert's barn have been transferred and will move to trainers that will allow them to be eligible for Breeders' Cup points in their next races. Blackadder, Doppelganger, McLaren Vale, and most notably Messier. And if you jumped in and took all others in any of those Kentucky Derby future pools, and I think in the last pool is about 5-1, you're going to wind up with Messier, who I think a lot of people think could be one of the favorites for the Derby. We will see. They're now down to that one race where they have to grab points, but we'll see how it works out. Blackadder went into the barn of Rudy Brissett. The other 3 went into the barn of Tim Yachtine. So again, we'll see where those horses go next. And also, NYRA announced just yesterday, Dave Rennig reported 6 trainers were denied stalls in New York, including Wayne Potts and Juan Vasquez, and then some lesser-known trainers, Marvin Richards, John McAllen, Luis Miranda, and Michael Simmons, denied space, although they'll be allowed to run in New York, but they were denied stall space, and they have to have their horses out by Wednesday. And a couple of Grenig, reached out to all of them, and a couple of them were kind of, hey, I'm unaware of this, so I have to figure out what to do. So it'll be interesting to see how that may play out over the next week. All right, in the upcoming 6th at Dubai, the Golden Shaheen. This is a fun race because, again, as always in Dubai, you put up that kind of money and you get notables from around the world. And once again, on the international stage, Japan doing very well as they picked up the most recent race as well, including an earlier one on the card. Going back to their phenomenal Breeders' Cup weekend, they have just, on the international stage, they are now making some noise. But we're interested in the American runners in this upcoming Golden Shaheen, 6 furlongs. And we love our sprinters in America, so no surprise that they go over and try for a couple $1 million. Drain the clock for Safi Joseph. Last year won the Woody Stevens, second behind Jackie's Warrior in the Amsterdam up at Saratoga. Most recently kicking off this season was a close-up second in the behind Miles Ahead, who is a nice sprinter, in the Gulfstream Park Sprint. That kicked off the season for Drain the Clock and did it with a triple-digit buyer. Irad Ortiz over in Dubai to ride. We also have Dr. Scheibel, and Drain the Clock is currently at 7-2. Dr. Scheibel, the number 2, is 2-1, the current favorite. But also notable, I mentioned earlier, Wonder Where Craig Is for Brittany Russell. Based in Maryland. You don't see a lot of these Maryland-based horses shipping over, but Michael Dubb, Matacat and Company said, let's take our shot. Wonder Where Craig Is the number 13 horse at 5-1. Luis Saez on board. So they're loading in the Golden Shaheen in Dubai. We'll come back from that race and wrap things up today with a little more Dubai World Cup conversation right after this. So stay tuned. Good luck if you're playing the Golden Shaheen.
Up goes Switzerland. Eastern World will be the next one. Bringing up ever fast. Mobadal will be the last one for the 2022 Dubai Golden Shaheen, sponsored by Atlantis Dubai for a purse of $2 million. Mobadal joins the lineup. When the clock needs to quieten down, they all set. And they're off. And they got away to a good start. Ulteric lead at all costs, gets there pretty comfortably. Drain the Clock on his back in second. Now there's pace on the outside. Wonder Where Craig Is goes up handy. Mangiers rides in the Eastern World, the maroon colours. Good effort, just off than the yellow jacket, but is covering a bit of ground. Mobadal from the deepest draw, committed, but is also committed off the course. Then comes Switzerland, couple of lengths away to Dr. Scheibel, the red colours, racing behind midfield. 2-3 lengths back to Everfast, Strong Constitution, Chain of Love and Red Lazelle. The Japanese horses are well back, 600 meters out, and the leader has Drained the Clock, got the lead as Ulteric conceded. Then comes Wonder Where Craig Is, pink cap. Switzerland goes through the gears quite nicely. Then comes Mangier towards the inside. Eastern World, good effort. Mobadal's towards the outside, but it's Drained the Clock in the lead, opened up by a length and a half. Switzerland is running his socks off in second, now first. Switzerland picks up the lead. Drained the Clock needs to find an answer. Red Lazelle, Chain of Love doing their best work late towards the outside. Switzerland in the Dubai Golden Shaheen. The grand old game 8-year-old Switzerland wins. Second goes the way of Red Lazelle, Dr. Scheibel third. Then came Chain of Love, Eastern World, Strong Constitution, Everfast. Then came Drain the Clock. Further back to Mangier, Wonder Where Craig Is, Ulteric, Mobadal, and then came Good Effort. Well, Switzerland mixes his form, but today he's had a big day. Turning for home, he travelled a dream. And Switzerland under Tag O'Shea for Bupat Seymour for Triple R Racing wins. Second, Red Lazelle, best work late. Dr. Scheibel's up the inside, and third, Chain of Love fourth. Japanese horses finished off their race as well, but we're left with too much to do. Eastern World was next to finish, but it's all about the 8-year-old Switzerland. Seymour is having an unbelievable debut season.
What a performance that was from Switzerland. Much more like it, much more like the horse we saw earlier on this season. It didn't work out in Saudi, not for the first time out there, it hasn't worked out for him. But that is the Switzerland that was on form the previous start over this course and distance when beating stable companion Gladiator King, and easily. And that is the Switzerland. He's 8 now, but when he's at his very best. Tiger Shay's given him a lovely ride.
Where's the best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drink specials, and wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 75 flat-screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you, where's the best sports bar in the capital region? Tell them Legends Field Sports Bar, inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Welcome back to Racing Across America, and as they say in days like this, it's racing around the globe. Dubai World Cup, Switzerland gets it done. They mentioned the venerable Switzerland. Started the career over here. I looked up, I pulled up Equibase because I can remember he ran up at Saratoga. He used to be a runner for Steve Asmussen, won the De Francis down at Laurel in 2018. He ran up at Saratoga, but now based over there in the Middle East.
He's been over there for a couple of years now.
Looked pretty good.
Yeah, he looked very good.
That was a pretty easy win for Switzerland.
And that was
in
a tough field. I would say in a tough
Yeah.
field, you could have won a bunch of different ways. I mean, you could say that about every race. So, I mean, look at the prices. It's been pretty crazy. So.
Mike Callahan joins me. I brought Mike in for a few minutes here in this last segment because we still have 3 to go in the Dubai World Cup on the Dubai World Cup card. Mike handicapped the card for the Capital OTB one sheet. Mike, we were talking before he went on the air. So far, the one sheet, people are playing around with the picks a little bit, was okay. I mentioned the opener where 2 of your 4, if you boxed up his 4 for $1, the exacta was 186. I didn't catch, but you said the fourth race.
Yeah, fourth race was good. Fourth race,
well.
you know, I had my top choice didn't run well, but 2, 3, 4 did. I had it 4, 10, 15, 1. It ended up coming out 1, 15, 10. But you beat the 3 to 5 favorite who ended up finishing third. The 1 who wins the race goes off 16 to 1. 15 ends up running a really good second at 38 to 1. The Quinella came back 181, I think, for $1. Triple came back 1,300 for $1. So hopefully you had it. Today's definitely a day where you want to box things.
Yeah.
You know, Japan is carrying that momentum from Saudi Cup and even back to the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah.
But it seems like also their second and third tier seem to be winning around. Now, not the focal horses that you've been hearing about from Japan, but it seems like whatever horse Japan brings over right now, throw them all into the mix and just box it up and see if you can't hit big because prices are there today, that's for sure.
The Japanese horse, I mean, yeah, you go back to that Breeders' Cup, they've just been phenomenal on the international scene. It looks like they're becoming real players internationally. Let's get some of your ideas. Again, you can check out Mike's picks on the one sheet if you pick it up on the website. Oh, we should also mention
we're open.
We're open already. Mike's been out there. I saw him turning on the TVs this morning, unlocking the
early.
An early start, obviously. And we have the Win-A-Bet contest coming up. You still have about a half an hour if you want to come down.
Yeah, it's going to start, like you said, beginning of race 7. I still have a chance to come down 711 Central Ave. We still have some breakfast available. We got some complimentary coffee, bagels, donuts. We gave away some vouchers as well, have the contest to run, so it's been a great morning. We have about 40 people here right now,
Nice.
which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So again, swing on by. If you're already up watching the races, obviously you can wager online if you've already been wagering, but stop down to the clubhouse if you want to come out. So.
All right, let's talk a little bit. We'll kind of work our way back. If we have time, we'll get to the prior two races, but let's look at the highlight today because it is a highlight. Obviously, Louisiana Derby later is going to highlight the day as well, but 12:30-ish our time, the Dubai World Cup will go off. Life is Good, just has been phenomenal throughout the career, stretched out to that 1 1/8 last time, got it done in the Pegasus World Cup. Seems like he has appreciated the move over to Dubai from all reports. Country Grammar comes in off the second place finish last time in the Saudi Cup for Bob Baffert. Midnight Bourbon, talented runner for Steve Asmussen, certainly is interesting. And Brian Nadeau and I were talking earlier on the Handicappers Report. I like the fact that they shipped Hot Rod Charlie over there and got in the prep race over at Meydan, and I think he could be interesting today. What are your thoughts in the World Cup?
Yeah, Hot Rod Charlie got a lot out of his, if you get a chance to go back, watch some of these replays, that's what I like to do. Obviously, you have so many horses coming from different countries, but Hot Rod Charlie did get shipped over. He had to work for that win. It's going to show that he won by 5+, but he really got a lot out of it. There was a horse that was really applying a lot of pressure on the far turn. He ended up separating himself. Again, Dubai has a very long stretch, so he was able to separate himself. But he got a lot out of it. I know that the connections were high on that. He's clearly a factor. I have him in the second spot. We're going to talk about Life is Good. At this point, I know that the distance is a question mark. That's really the only concern. But he makes everybody else sort of run his own race because he's that fast. The question's going to be, you have a lot of speed with Midnight Bourbon and some others in here. How fast is it going to be? Is someone going to want to go with him? But the problem is if you do that, you're not playing your own game, you're playing his game. So that's where I just thought Life is Good is just a step above. At this point, we'll see how the pace shapes up. We'll see if someone really wants to attack him that hard, but he is definitely the horse to beat. He's going to be my top choice. I mentioned Hot Rod Charlie in the second spot. He's going to be a danger, especially if he's able to sit and rate off of a horse that wants to attack. Life is Good. He's clearly going to be a player. Flavien Prat's going to be back aboard. William Buick was aboard last time out just because he shipped in for that prep. But Flavien, who's the normal rider, is going to be aboard. He'll be a player. He's going to be a decent price, I think. I think he's going to hold at 3-1. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I would think.
I think he'll be the solid second choice, but it may end up staying around there. Midnight Bourbon is going to be probably the X factor in here because he's the horse that, of the three big names from America, is the horse that I think is going to apply the most pressure. He likes to go to the lead. He likes to be right there, and he doesn't like to go away. I mean, look at him. He's never been out of the top three. He's gutsy each and every time, and no matter how quick the pace is, he just seems to want to keep on running. So he's going to be an X factor. I have him in the third spot at 10-1. I couldn't really get clever with any of the overseas horses from Europe or Japan. In this spot, I think America does have the advantage, but for me, I had it 7, 5, 9, and 10. What were your thoughts on this race?
Yeah, I mean, Life is Good. As I say, the reports were so good on him that the question mark last time, 1 1/8, he's answered that question. The question today will be 1 1/4. But as you say, they're going to have to play his game. He just is phenomenal so far. The reports are he's working well, so I'm probably tilting in that direction. But again, I like the prep for Hot Rod Charlie. I like that they went over there and did that. I think he could be very, very interesting this afternoon. So it's a great edition of the Dubai World Cup. Just with Life is Good. I mean, he's turning out to be really, really special. We'll see if that continues this afternoon. The 8th race will go off at the Dubai World Cup scheduled to go off at 12:30. The Shima Classic is scheduled for 11:55. The upcoming Dubai Turf is 11:20. That's the next race. But let's take a look first at the Shima Classic, which will be the 8th race. And again, that'll go off at about 11:55. Grade 1 event. $6 million up for grabs, 1.5 miles on the turf. And Yabir comes in off the win in the Breeders' Cup Turf back in November at Del Mar, had won the Jockey Club Derby at Belmont before that. All of that as a 3-year-old, now a 4-year-old. He's going to be fun to watch, certainly in here. What are your thoughts in the Shima Classic?
Yeah, this is a race where, you side with America and the big one in the Dubai World Cup. Europeans are going to have a huge say in this race. So I had it 13-4, 14-1, and Japan's going to bring 5 in this race, if not 6. And I ended up going with a price horse in here, maybe one that won't take a lot of attention, and that's Stella Veloce. It's a horse that's won 3 of 10 lifetime, 7 of 10 in the money. 2 back, watch the race because faced off against some of Japan's best horses. Finished 4th, beating a length and 3/4, but was the horse that ended up getting floated wide the most, had to cover the most ground in there, ended up tiring her a little bit, but I think has enough kick in this race because a lot of these horses from Japan like to sit off the pace, including a couple others in here, and just sort of storm home late. I think this horse is very scary at a price. The normal jockey who's been riding is coming over, so at 10-1 I thought was a little scary. The 4 in the mix as well. There's going to be Glory Voss, winner last time out over at Chatin. Again, coming over, very good form. Kristoffer Semyon is going to be aboard at 7-1. It's going to be a very good board, I have to believe. Yabir in the 3rd spot, only for the fact that this is going to be this seasonal debut, and he's going up against some very, very good horses in here. But he runs back to last race in the Breeders' Cup Turf. He's clearly a player. He's going to attract a lot of money because of that factor. And then in the 4th spot, the 1 who's Authority, another one who won last time out, Saudi Cup on the undercard. And you're going to get Christophe Lemaire, who's been the leading rider for Japan over there. And he's been aboard a lot of really good horses as well. So this is a race. Take a look at the board, see what your thoughts are. I tried to get a little bit clever with some of the, maybe not the A Japanese horse in here, but he does have the potential. He's been there with some of the best. So I have it 13-4, 14-1.
I may toss the 7. I like all of yours. I may toss the 7 in as well. I think we'll get a price on Pile Driver, and that's one of those where a lot of folks will look at that last race, and you can't ever decide on one race, good or bad. And I think this horse is better than we saw last time. But because of that last race, I think you'll get a decent price. And Frankie Dettori on board, that can't hurt. So I'll play around with yours and toss that one into the mix as well. And again, the next race that is coming up will be the Dubai Turf. Again, another nice full field of turf runners in here. They will go a mile and an eighth. And Colonel Liam is in here, which makes it very interesting. The 2-horse, let me see if I can pull up our early odds at this point. Colonel Liam sitting currently, we'll see, there's plenty of betting time left, but currently sits at 5-1. Kind of generous, but, as opposed to the Pegasus World Cup Turf Invitational, these international races are a little bit different because now you're going up against the best from the world, which means the best turfers are some of the top turfers potentially from Europe. And so he is in a little bit deeper water. We'll see what Colonel Liam does, but what do you like in the Dubai Turf?
And since you have the computer up, what is Chanel Meister right now? Because I have a feeling that horse could take a lot of money.
8-5.
8-5, yeah. So Chanel Meister for Japan is one of the classified superstars over there. 4 for 7 lifetime. Last time out, ran a really good second to a mare who's since retired, who had 6 Group 1 victories over in Japan. Before that, it had won by a head against a really strong field as well. Clearly, the class for Japan is going to run through the 12. I did try to take a shot. I had the 12 in the 2nd spot with the 8 Lord North. Now, Lord North is interesting. This horse won this race, defending champ last year. Problem is, had not been seen from that win last year in March all the way to February of this year. Now, what happened? What happened was there was a throat problem for Lord North. They tried to get him to the races last year. They ultimately couldn't do it. They wanted to get a race in, or he wasn't going to run in this race, and they were able to get it in at Lingfields over the all-weather track. He ended up finishing 2nd. He needed that race. He faced a really nice horse as well. It was a short field, weird dynamics for him because he's a horse that likes to come from about mid or even farther back. He has a really good kick. Now, obviously, the throat problem is going to be a concern for some people, but his kick is as good as Chanel Meister or anybody's in this field. So if he got a lot out of his prep race, which I believe he did, and everything is back to being good, which John Gostin, I watched a couple interviews, said it that was the case. Frankie Dettori is going to be aboard, was aboard last time for that victory. And again, you're just trying to compare. Last year's field that he beat was a little bit weaker than this field because you're bringing in Chanel Meister and a couple others. But still, at the price you're going to get, and I think he'll probably be around 5-1, is
sitting at 5-1.
Sitting at 5-1. Yeah. If you can keep that price, I think he is worth a shot. and he will be closing late into this. So I had the 8 on top. Meister, clearly the horse that Japan is going to back in this spot. And then the 2, Colonel Liam for America. Really good record, obviously known well over here. Now test the world stage in this spot. And the waters get deeper, but clearly can build off of that effort down at Gulfstream Park. So I had an 8, 12, 2, and 9. Again, a really deep field, but it is going to run through the 12 Meister.
Yeah, fun race on a fun card. 3 more Dubai races left to go. The upcoming turf now 18 minutes away. 11:55 the Shima Classic, and 12:30 the big one, the Dubai World Cup. And again, we're open down here at the Clubhouse Racebook. You now have less than 20 minutes if you want to play the handicapping contest, because that'll kick off with this upcoming Dubai turf. But love to have you stop down, enjoy the races here this afternoon. Not only Dubai, but again, the nice card at Fairgrounds.
Yeah, all the way into the Fairgrounds. So you have great racing. The next couple weekends are like really, now we're starting to gear up into racing time. Florida Derby next week. I know you guys will be down there. Should be a fun trip for you guys. Lead into that. Then after that, we'll have a couple more prep races as well. So exciting racing. Stop down to the clubhouse. Wager online. Stop near your local branch or easy bet. And just a great day of racing. Hope everybody enjoys it.
I won't text you from the beach Monday or Tuesday.
See, you got to have to go and say that. We're going to get rain up here. Like the last 5 days it's been is rain. You're going to send me a picture on the beach, and I'll get you back. I'll get you back somehow.
I'm looking forward to it. Just looking forward to being back on the road. It's been a couple of years now with the pandemic that we haven't done our usual road trip. So I'm just looking forward to getting back on the road next Friday and Saturday live from Gulfstream. And we'll do our usual stop at Palm Meadows on Thursday, pick up some interviews, more interviews Thursday afternoon at the racetrack, live guests as well. So should be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of our patrons have always responded back, getting that extra insight always helps. And, leading up into the race, it's always great to get ideas. You guys do a fantastic job. I've been there, part of it, for a lot of them. Yeah. So now transitioning over to the clubhouse, I'll definitely miss it. But I hope you guys enjoy the trip. So.
Hey, there's Todd Pletcher in Dubai. So we will send it to Dubai. Colonel Liam under Todd's care. And, of course, Life is Good a little bit later on. I think he's been over there all week, right? Didn't he leave Twitter and whatnot? I think I saw him over there watching Life is Good, working out, going back to maybe last Monday. So
okay. Yeah, I saw when Life is Good initially got on the track to get his first feel over the surface. Boy, does he look filled out. He looks filled out. So he runs his race. He's going to be tough. But, again, if you're not a chalk fan and you want to try to beat him, just hope that someone goes after him. And if it's an unknown distance for him. You never know. Horse racing is a crazy game. So.
All right, Mike, appreciate the visit. Good luck this afternoon.
Good luck to everybody as well.
I'm going to wrap it up for Racing Across America. Speaking of Gulfstream, we want to thank them for their sponsorship of this, some of the other programming and events here at Capital OTB during their championship meet. We appreciate the support of Gulfstream Park. All right, Racing Across America wraps up, but I'll be back in about an hour and a half or so with OTB Live for a Saturday afternoon, a big Saturday afternoon. In the meantime, enjoy the racing from Dubai. Cash some tickets. We'll see you in about an hour and a half.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off-Track Betting.